Welcome to Paying Attention. I'm Brent Beasley. I lead the Fort Worth Education Partnership. And today, my guest is somebody that I think we all need to pay attention to, Trenace Dorsey-Hollins. Trenace is somebody we need to pay attention to, and she's also somebody who is paying attention to what is happening in Fort Worth. In fact, when we thought about doing this podcast, Trenace, one of the first people I thought of that I wanted to have on was you. And so thank you for being here with us.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. You are the founder and the leader of a parent organization called Parent Shield.
Yes.
Now, I know you're from Fort Worth. You grew up in Fort Worth, right?
Born and raised, fifth generation Fort Worthian.
Oh, fifth generation.
Yes.
Okay. When you look back on your growing up years in school, kindergarten through high school, was there a moment that was just especially impactful for you, maybe a kind of a turning point or important moment with a teacher or an experience that was just really important in your development?
I think the most thing that really stood out to me, and this didn't stand out to me until I became an adult, is that even when I was a child, my mom was exercising school choice. We actually lived in the heart of Eastwood. That was where I lived, that was where I grew up. But my mom would drive us to my grandparents' house every day for us to catch the bus and go to school. And I just thought it was because my mom wanted, she needed to be at work and needed to take us to my grandparents who were retired to take us to school.
Yeah.
But it was really because my mom was driving us to a better school district and wanted better opportunities for us. So that has been one of the driving forces in why I do the work that I do today.
Yeah. That's interesting. I had the same thought as an adult. I looked back and realized that my parents also exercised school choice. I went to an ISD just like everybody else, but they actually did it by moving. We moved from one part of Dallas to another, but it was because of school.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You're the founder of a parent organization in Fort Worth called Parent Shield. How did you end up doing that, and what do y'all do? What is that all about?
So just seeing the needs, again, being born and raised in Fort Worth, love my community, have always had a passion for children. And I remember people would tell me, you're going to be a teacher. And I was like, I don't think that's what the Lord is calling me to do. But here I am now advocating for children all across the city and across Texas. But that started because I wanted to be a strong advocate for my own children. And I was paying attention to what was going on with their grades. Started with my oldest daughter. I was paying attention to what was going on with her grades. And when I saw that there was an area of inequity, I was that parent who didn't hesitate to speak up and say, this is not okay, and kind of call the system out on these issues. And that was what really alerted me to there being concerns and being a need for parents to speak up and speak out for their children. And from that day, I've just been that mom that's been laser focused on what's going on with my child. How is she doing? How can I also support her within the school system? And then also being the mom of a child who has special needs, who is nonverbal, gives me even more passion to speak for her because I am her voice. So for the title of your podcast is Paying Attention, and I have to pay even closer attention to what's going on with her because she's not able to come out of the schools and tell me what's going on. So I have to stay engaged with the teachers and know the right questions to ask to make sure that she's still getting the quality of care that she deserves.
I remember hearing somebody say that special ed parents are the best advocates because they've had to be that.
I've heard that before too. I think that is so true. I think that is true because we have to. This is not a choice for us. It's something that we definitely have to do for our kids.
I remember one of the first things I knew about you had something to do with the school bus with your daughter. That you couldn't seem to get it to work right, and you were going up the system and trying to address that.
Yeah, so I remember that very clearly too. At first, it was the school bus kept breaking down, and I could never get adequate transportation to get her to the school, which is something that was written into her IEP or her independent evaluation plan. And I knew that, I'm like, this is state law. This is a legal binding document saying that the school is required to provide transportation to my daughter. And I have to be at work too. So I need you guys to do what you're required to do to help support my daughter and get her there. And on top of that, our vehicle at the time did not support the kind of wheelchair that she needed. We had more of a collapsible wheelchair that wasn't compatible with the bus. So it's like, I need y'all to come and pick her up and take her to school on time. So yeah, that was one of the issues that we did have to advocate, that I did have to advocate for her.
Yeah. And now you've built a real organization here. Like, tell us a little bit about that.
So Parent Shield, we serve Tarrant County as a whole. We really support parents in knowing what's going on in the education space, how they can best use their voice to advocate not only for their child, but for their schools and for their communities and for Fort Worth as a whole. And really just get involved and know that our voices as parents are powerful, and we do have the power to make change and change policies that are best suited for our children to make sure they're the successful adults that'll be running the city of Fort Worth in the future.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of the things that y'all have done is the literacy work with Boys and Girls Clubs. Because I think that's interesting, because that's a situation where you're not just being an advocate from the outside, but you're actually getting in there and providing some real, like, practical, tangible help to parents and to kids.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about what y'all are doing with Boys and Girls Club?
Yes. So this actually came from an initiative that we were running called Freedom July, where we brought parents in, we assessed children to see exactly what reading level they were on. And from that, we were able to give parents actionable steps to take. But we also really collected some data to learn that parents knew that their kids needed tutoring, that based on their economic situations, it wasn't something that they had in the budget to pay for, because tutoring can be expensive. And so we were able to provide students through the Boys and Girls Club, partner with them, and provide students free after-school tutoring 3 to 4 times a week. So students would come into the Boys and Girls Club, we would pull them for their tutoring session, and during that time they were getting tutoring, 96% of our students who went through that program was able to grow at least 1 grade level in reading. So we were able to know that this high dosage intervention works, and it was really closing the gaps for students, which was what our goal was.
Yeah, and y'all are going to continue doing that.
Yes, we are going to continue to do that, because we see that it works. So we definitely don't want to stop doing that when we know that it's meeting the needs and closing the gaps for kids.
Yeah. What, in all of your work you've gotten to know a lot of Fort Worth parents and families, and I know from hearing you talk, you've gone with parents and families to their children's schools to help and be an advocate alongside them, whether that's special ed kids or other. What is it that you've you think about it sort of at a higher level, like what have you learned about what parents and families are not getting out of the system, or what they're wanting from the system? Like, I imagine you have some thoughts on that.
I think the main thing that we're hearing that parents want is to be partners. They want the schools to look at us as though we are also the experts. While you guys are the experts in the curriculum and the education piece, we are the experts as parents in our children, and we know our children best. And you guys have them for 8 hours, and we have them for the remainder of the day, which is well more beyond 8 hours. So taking consideration to the partnership, and in addition to partnership, I would say transparency. Parents want to know exactly where their kids are. That way we know how to act. When parents know exactly what's going on with their kids, they know how to speak up, that there needs to be a request for resources, even if they don't know what those resources are, but they know that they need to be asking for assistance in these areas, because now they know the truth. So I think transparency and partnership are some of the main things that parents want. And I think those two things together will equal growth for students and success for schools, because when there's a strong parent, teacher, school partnership, students are thriving, and that's what we as parents want to see our kids doing.
Yeah. Do you find that the systems, and we're not just talking about one school district here, but like you've got parents in lots of school districts, you've charter schools. Do you find that the systems are set up to welcome that kind of parent partnership and engagement, or is that, are there a lot of barriers? Like, is this a difficult thing?
I think it has gotten better, but for the most part, no, it's not set up to welcome parents in. It's not an inviting environment. I've had parents call me specifically where schools did not allow them in. They would talk to them through the intercom, even when students were having events like field day or parties. Parents were not allowed to be a part of those events. And it's like, how is that okay at your school if you're wanting to build a community and a partnership with parents. Like that has to be something that's done.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned transparency. You know, we in the community have talked a lot the last year or so about this with the Go Beyond Grades campaign about what parents believe about how their kids are doing versus the reality.
Yes.
And we all know kind of the
difference.
numbers about that. Yeah. Is that your experience that parents don't necessarily know exactly how their kids are doing?
That is the main reason, because when I first got into this work, I learned the data, and I would like to say a lot thanks to the report that you guys put out. So if y'all have not seen the report at Fort Worth Education Partnership, definitely go and check it out. It's impactful, and it'll just kind of change how you feel about schools. But that was one of the things that really got me like, oh my goodness, there is an emergency going on in the city of Fort Worth, and why are parents not beating down the school doors? Like the schools are on fire saying we have to do something for our kids. But it was because parents didn't know what they were getting coming home from the schools in means of report cards or parent-teacher calls was that their students were doing well. They saw A's and B's. So for the most part, parents didn't feel a need to worry or a need to concern. But once we saw the data that your report produced, started looking at the TEA site and really digging into what the data was actually saying, we knew that we had to spread the word to parents to let them know that our city was in a crisis. And I am glad to see that perception gap is closing from what parents think and how kids are doing. So that is saying that the work that we're doing as a city is getting us in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah, we did a survey when we started the Go Beyond Grades campaign, and it said that 96% of Tarrant County, I think it was, parents believe that their child is reading at grade level. And we knew that the answer was 50% at most. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then we did the survey again this spring, and I think it was 84%, so it went down.
So that's amazing.
12 points.
That's great. Again, I think that goes to the work that the community is doing. I'm glad that parents are actually grasping this information and being aware of what's going on. Like that is what is going to get our kids to the highest level of education that they deserve.
Yeah, I love that saying that parents can't solve a problem they don't know they have.
For sure,
and
sure.
Yeah, and what we want to see what the parents think. We want to see that come down closer to reality, but we also want to see the percentage of kids who are reading at grade level go up. So we don't want to just bring it all the way down.
Yeah, it's definitely meeting.
Yeah, we want them to meet each other. Yeah, that's right.
For sure.
To learn more about Fort Worth Education Partnership, check out our website, fortworthep.org. And we are on Instagram at fortworthep. What are some of the positives about what you see in the school systems at Fort Worth? What's going well, do you think, these days?
I think right now, most of the district have shifted a lot of the focus towards literacy. So kids are starting to get some support, more support around literacy and those foundational skills. Are we where we need to be? Of course not. But our schools admittedly saying we're not where we are, where we need to be, and we are going to put some additional resources behind that, yes. So for me, that's a positive. I also feel that parents are being more engaged and aware of what's going on is a huge positive. Fort Worth ISD, for example, they're hosting parent-teacher conferences district-wide now. That's a huge step because there was parents who never had a parent-teacher conference before. There were parents who had never seen or knew what a MAP test was. And so to see the school districts now having these intentional meetings with parents to say, here's where your child is, here's how we can partner, I think that is a step in the positive direction.
Yeah. What do we need to get better? What's not going well, do you think?
I don't think it's moving fast enough. We've been talking about this in the city of Fort Worth for a long time. And right now my daughter is in the 10th grade. So we're starting to see, my oldest daughter is in the 10th grade. We're starting to see changes, but I don't want those changes to happen when she's now out of school and it's taken 3 years to actually see, results being made, and it's not reflective in my daughter's grades or my daughter's education life experience. And I think the same thing for many other parents. There's some parents who their kids are aging out of the system and they're not getting a second chance. So I don't think we're moving fast enough.
I saw, that makes me think, I saw a banner in the front of a school in my neighborhood that was kind of faded, and it said exemplary school 2010, 2011. And I was thinking that those kids that year back there when it was an exemplary school, those kids are out of high school.
They're gone.
You know? Like there's, as we say, child's only in third grade once.
Absolutely.
There's an urgency. Yeah.
So I think putting that sense of urgency in place, again, one of the things that I do feel is working well for the city of Fort Worth specifically is I do feel like there's been a lot of community partners and community engagement around how do we get awareness around literacy and how do we get the support for our kids. So I'm excited about that. I just really want our kids and parents as well, not more so parents, not to lose focus, especially with everything that's looming with the TEA takeover of Fort Worth ISD and what's going on, and not get so distracted with the noise and just keep kids at the North Star, and that regardless of if we get a new appointed board or if our elected board stays in place, whomever stays in place, is that we're still speaking up and staying engaged and keeping kids at the center.
Right.
I think that's what's most
important. I actually wanted to ask you about sort of politics, and that's a good lead into that is, we're living in such a politically polarized time. Everything's about, are you on the red team or the blue team? And if you're on the red team, you don't like what the blue team says, whatever it is, and vice versa, and we certainly see that nationally. We see it in Texas and Fort Worth. I feel like we're feeling that more and more locally. But it's from what I see, you haven't really gotten too caught up in that. I don't hear you getting put in a box.
Thank you.
On the red team or the blue team, And I'd love to hear you think about how have you managed to stay out of that? Because education politics are pretty divisive, can be.
I think it's real simple. To me, again, it's not about those color lines. It's about kids. And in everything that I do, I see a child's face. Yeah. And I want to make sure that I'm out here speaking up for every child like they were the two children that I look at when I go home at night. And so keeping that the center and not getting distracted by the other things, I think that's the main thing. Also, I'm the daughter of a bull rider and grew up riding horses and stuff. And so I'm used to putting the horses blinders on. And so I feel like I do that in a lot of areas of the noise, keeping the blinders on. I'm not looking outside of that. I'm tunnel vision on getting kids what they need.
That's great. Love that. Yeah. What about some of the practical things where politics and the political environment is intruding, kind of making its way in, whether that's the potential TEA takeover or intervention, as they like to say, of Fort Worth ISD, or there have been potential budget cuts. How do you keep the blinders on while you got all these things happening?
I think still staying engaged and staying connected with who are the key people to talk to, and not listening so much to the outside people who may not know so much about what's going on, and really just making an assumption. Talking to who I know I need to talk to. I feel like I'm strong at relationship building. I take pride in the relationships that I build. So in doing so, I'm well aware of who may be the right person to talk to about issues, and I'm going directly to the source.
Yeah. I've heard you say that about just going to the source.
Yes, just going directly to the source.
I've heard you say that, seen you do that.
So that's my approach.
Yeah. The title of this podcast, Paying Attention, it comes from some lines from a Mary Oliver poem where it says, instructions for living a life: pay attention, be astonished, tell about it. And I really see you doing these things. You're one, as I said at the beginning, you're paying attention.
Definitely.
And there's a lot of power in that. You're paying attention. I'm just thinking about it right now, but you put out things about what's going to happen at the school board meeting tonight.
Yes.
You're paying it. That's a signal that you're paying attention.
I just actually posted a video today, just kind of, here's the tea with tea, really just letting parents know, here's some important things that's going on in the education space that we're living in. Here's some important things that we're doing. And I like that you said pay attention, be astonished, because don't let anything shock you.
Yeah.
We're going to hear some crazy things, but again, keeping those blinders on and staying focused on what the important thing is, which is kids. Not letting anything really just shock you. And I think that's super important.
And then tell about it.
And tell about it. That's the most important part, because there's so many things that is kept a secret. and that the information is out there, but it's not being shared. And so anytime that I'm hearing any information that I feel like will be helpful for me as a parent, I feel like it could be helpful for another parent. I can't be the only one thinking that this is good, or that I didn't know this. And so I'm always sharing. My team is always coming back, telling us information from other parents. So we're learning too. We don't know everything, but we do know how to find the resources and find the information. And so hearing that information from the community, really leaning and depending on our parents to be our community of support together, and we are each other's resources and eyes and ears. So that's how we move. That's how we operate.
Yeah.
To connect with our guest, Trenace Dorsey-Hollins, and learn more about Parent Shield, check out their website, parentshield.org. They are also on Facebook, Parent Shield Fort Worth.
You haven't done this before, this kind of role, right?
No.
Like, what were you doing before you started doing this?
I was the manager of a finance company.
Right.
So I managed a team of about 12 people at a finance company, and then I was a coach, and I was a mom.
Yeah.
And that was it. Those were my roles.
Yeah.
But I think these all like played a part, because even at my job as a finance, at the company that I worked at as a finance manager, I was over and responsible for executive referrals and complaints. So I knew how to talk to people.
Yeah.
Like, I've always known how to communicate and be able to build strong relationships. And then as a mom, my kids are going to be my priority. So learning and knowing what's going on with them was always important as well to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then as a coach, just shows that I care about other people's kids too. So I think all of these things was just building me up to do the work that I'm doing right now.
Coach can get people organized and moving in the right direction. Yeah.
Get the team galvanized. And,
right.
Yeah.
What has it been like to do this? Because you suddenly became a sort of public person. Like, I see you on the news a lot. The reporters come to you often. It seems like for quotes. You've done all kinds of things like that. Like, what's that been like, just for you personally? Like to do all of that?
For one, I feel like news, especially when it's news about education and about children, I feel like cannot be 100% validated if you don't have the voice of a parent. And so again, in building relationship and letting the reporters and the news media know, like, you need a parent voice. We have parents that you can talk to that can give a perspective. That is just as important as the educators and the commissioner or the people at SBOE that you're talking to as well. Like, that parent piece is just as valuable and important. So I think that is key, but I just feel like it's needed. There's not anybody that's doing what I do and helping parents. Like, Parent Shield is just out here really just connecting parents, and we're not waiting for parents to come to us. We're meeting parents where they are. And so that's a different feel for parents, and they trust us, and they're excited to learn about our services, and they're excited to work with us. So that's the main thing that matters.
Yeah. Has it been hard to have that public role, or to speak out on things, whether speaking at a school board meeting or speaking in the media? Like, how have people responded to that? Has that been a positive thing, or has that been a hard thing?
I think it's been a little bit of both. There are people who, of course, appreciate the things that I say. The community and the parents that I'm speaking for and speaking, with are proud that our voice is being heard. But there are also people that come and try to, I like to say, like, throw a wrench in the work that we're doing, or just want to cause problems, I guess. And then there's people that feel like there needs to be support towards teachers. And I agree. Like, I feel like support towards teachers is just as important. However, the role that Parent Shield plays is to support parents and students. And so we know our lane, staying clear in our lane and unapologetically about this is the lane that we serve. And there are other lanes that are needed, and fill those lanes. But just knowing who we are and what we do and why our work is important, and just staying true to who we are.
Yeah. As we're kind of wrapping things up here, the conversation, you talked about connecting with parents. Like, how do parents find you, and how do you talked about meeting parents where they are. How do you find parents? So
first of all, parents can find us on our website, which is parentshield.org. parentshield.org. They can follow us on Facebook, which is Parent Shield Fort Worth. But parents are also welcome to email us or call us if they need our support. Our email address is info@parentshield.org, and our phone number is 682-302-2928. But how we meet parents where they are, we were recently just at Wedgwood Middle School last week at their open house, and we had a table set up. We were telling parents about who we are, what some of our services that we offer, which one of our specific services that I'm very passionate about is offering SPED support. So we review ARDS and IEP meetings.
SPED is
Special education,
okay,
excuse
right.
me, special education. Yes, thank you for that. I appreciate it. But we review IEPs and we support parents at ARD meetings. And so in talking to a parent about those services, a mom was like, "Oh, I need you." She's like, "I've been working with the school trying to get my child evaluated since last year and nobody's responding to me." I said, "Well, call me in the morning. Call me in the morning. We will definitely get him evaluated." And 8:15, she was calling me. And she was like, "We met yesterday." And I was like, "I remember who you are." And we talked. She kind of told me about what was going on. She already had the paperwork to where she had signed consents to evaluate last school year, which once a consent is signed, the clock is ticking on the time frame that the schools actually have to start that evaluation. And we were well over that. So I drafted an email up for the mom, helped her draft it up, and we sent it to the school. Literally within 15 minutes, we received a response back from the school saying we're working on this. So this mom had been trying to fight for the school to get her son evaluated for 2 years, going up to the schools, being ignored, saying her papers were lost, and just basically getting run around. And we sent one email, of course, to the right people again, and we got a response within 15 minutes. So connecting parents with the services that they need. We also have parents that call us that say, "I'm having an issue with my child. I just don't feel like the schools are listening to me." We will go to the schools with the parents to provide that support with them, to set up those meetings with the principals or with the teachers. Parents ask us all the time, what are all the services that you guys provide? And I like to say it's unlimitless, because really whatever the needs are of our kids that have to do with the school system, we're going to support you.
That's great. It's literally the meaning of the word advocacy, which is vocare, voice, and then add is literally add.
Add it. So
you're adding a voice. You added a voice to this mom's voice and had great results. I love that. What about people in the community? How can people in the community connect or support what y'all are doing?
Give us a call right out. We're having so many events. Right now we have an event coming up pretty soon, but we're always having different things going on that we could use volunteers for. We could use parent support for. Just spreading the words and letting people know about the things that we're doing is what's going to get the word out to more parents and help more kids. So those are ways that they can help us. If you're wanting to volunteer, if you're looking to if you're a strong believer in education and you believe that parent voice is important and this is possibly something that you want to be involved in, please call me, please email me, reach out to me. That's what we're about, building community. We can't do this work alone, so we need that support.
Yeah, do people ever provide services in kind, like legal or PR, things like that? And what is that a need, or is that something people can do?
That is definitely a need. We haven't gotten too much of that. We actually have an attorney on our board, so they provide some of the legal reviews for us. But we've gotten some in-kind donations as far as to be able to support some of our parent events. But that is definitely a need. Just to be able to meet that support of parents.
Well, that's great. Thank you for everything you're doing for Fort Worth Kids.
Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me, and thank you for allowing me to be a guest on your podcast. Thank you.
This is a Fort Worth Education Partnership production. To watch Paying Attention, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also listen to Paying Attention wherever you get your podcasts.